here tonight with Mark Jackson. He is the host of the Metal Forge and plays bass and sings in the thrash band Overlord. Overload.
Overload.
What the fuck?
What
Why
the
did I say?
hell?
I don't
Everybody does
know.
that.
I,
Dude, you must have been listening to some previous episodes because everybody does that. Everybody says overlord, overladen. I've heard overlude. Like they put the omits in the over the O's. I've had that happen. So
that's funny shit. Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why the hell I said Overlord. Like, what the
dude,
fuck?
honestly, at this point, there was an overlord in Louisville like 30 years ago. And by the time Overload had started, we did have a pretty the logo was kind of, you could kind of get confused because we always used capital letters.
Mm.
And in thrash metal and shit like that, it's all about the logo. As you can see Metallica behind me here, it's all about
Yeah.
the logo. So I get it. It's when you get the really weird ones like Grover Load or Overtoad, shit weird like that. That's when I'm like, how, man? How do you get that?
Well, dude, like I went to Spotify today and I was like, I'm gonna listen to some Overload. So I put it in and some digital shit come up and I'm like, hold
Yes.
on.
Yeah, okay. So as it stands, there were a few different overloads in the world, but none currently in America.
Right.
So, and there was none in the UK. I think there was a Pakistan metal band that came up. There was a Chinese punk band named Overload, and there is an Indian like electronica
Yeah.
thing. So those are the only other overloads in the world. So
I was like, this is not what I wanted to listen to at all.
the funny thing is on Apple, I get their stream count because they never went back, and I guess they just upload shit there and don't go back and look at it. I don't get any of the royalties for it because I guess they're not affiliated, but I get their view count on their listens because they never fixed it. So there is always that through Apple that I'm cool with.
Hell yeah, for sure. So how did Overload come to be? So it looks like I think you guys started in like '09 or something like that.
Well, by the Metal Archives, which is incorrect, they said '09. It's actually '07. And I edit on that site and I've tried to ask them several times, but I didn't do Facebook for the first few years of the band because back in that day, if you didn't have an EDU email address, they wouldn't let you up until about 2000 and beginning of 2009. If you didn't have the EDU address, they wouldn't let you create an account, right?
Hmm.
Because it used to be for college kids and
Yeah.
shit like that. But no, so it was 2007. It started out with myself on bass and vocals, Donnie Cranmer on drums and vocals, and Chuck Bond. We had started as a band called No originally, and about the first like 9 months of that band, it was such an awful fucking name decision. That like it's easy. It's No, fucking
Right.
what better and yeah, that it wasn't a good idea because we were doing it's like, fuck, there's a band called Yes, fuck them.
Right.
And we like Yes, don't get me wrong. I like Yes anyways.
For
But
sure.
that's what we were, it's like, I'm pissed off, I'm mad, I'm angry, fuck you, no. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I just totally went off on the thing here. I don't know if you allow that kind of language on your
For sure.
program.
Yeah, we're
Okay, cool.
it's
Sorry.
no, you're good, man. I don't give it.
I kind of curse like a sailor, as it were.
Yeah.
Not sailor from Surviving Thalia, my own victim.
Yeah.
But I love him though.
Yeah.
So after that, Chuck then parted ways, and we spent about 6 or 7 months looking for a guitar player. We found Ryan Tomes, who was a friend of mine growing up. We had played a few shows with him, and that got us from like the around late 2008, 9 to 2010. And 2010, a lot of like crazy things that happened. We had Donnie broke his arms So we took some time, took the summer
Fuck.
off. Well, he tripped over an extension cord and came down, palms down, to break his fall. And there's a couple of tee, like golf tee style looking bones in your elbows. Well, he broke both of those in both arms at the same time, and then played an hour set after it.
Wow.
So, but after that, then that's where I would say the real bulk, that like first like 3 or 4 years was just catching the footing and finding a lineup that could make an album.
Yeah.
And then in 2010 and 11 is when we found Mike Vaughn, which was a friend of Donnie's, and then we went on to do the first album.
Hell yeah. So it on the Metal Archives, it says you guys had live album and then recorded album. Is that how that worked?
Yes, yeah, that's actually true. There was again, if there was a band, yes, and why couldn't there be a band? No. We just did. I was fucking around at work one day, and I had a piece of paper, and I was just like, I was thinking of like Live Evil from Black Sabbath
Yeah.
and Alive by Kiss, and we decided to make it Evil A, which was Alive spelled backwards, and it was a live album, and it was recorded at the Boondocks in Shepherdsville, and it was the re-debuted show with Mike Vaughn on guitar, and it was like February of 2011. It was super raw. There are versions that you can get still out there on the I believe that they're on the Bandcamp page. You can still get some tracks from that. I think there's NIB is one of them. We covered NIB, and it's, oh my gosh,
Hell yeah.
I'm puking into the microphone singing it. That's one of the things that a lot of people haven't been too kind on over the years is my vocal style.
Nah,
But
whatever.
so Evil A came out, and it was basically just something to get us out there, to have something to say this is what we kind of are right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, good way to record like I guess in essence is a demo to get you out into shows and do all that other shit, right?
Yeah, for sure. And because so I really had this like total DIY mentality of everything, because in that time period the economy was fucking terrible, and it was just like, holy shit, man, it's like I make like $9 an hour,
Yeah.
and it's like, how in the hell am I going to put out a freaking album, let alone pay for recording and then pay for production. And basically we blew the fucking wad on the recording aspect of it, and it's very raw. It's when I went in, I said, I want something as raw as it can be, because the packaging is going to be raw as hell too. And so that's what Mike Taylor did for us, and we've went back to Mike ever since.
That's I think there's a place for really well polished stuff. I always prefer I think that's why I lean towards like underground music, is I like the rawer type things. You know,
Sure.
you get the essence of the band and you get the essence of their live show, which is if you listen, personally, if you listen to a band on album, if I go see them live and they suck, I can't be a fan anymore, right?
Okay.
Like I'm
I mean, I get that. Yeah, especially if it's like, uh, if it's something that's super polished album wise, yeah, I can totally get that. The Sword was that way for me.
oh yeah.
I loved the Sword, and all the way up until I basically saw them live, and then I was like, wow, man, they're not that good. And I don't know what was going on at the time with them in their camp. I know it was about a year or two before their hiatus. They had just released Used Future,
Hmm.
and yeah, they were just not, it may have been Mercury at the time, Mercury Ballroom, but
Oh
they were
yeah.
just not feeling it that night, and it was way too long of a show.
That like that's
They played like an
terrible.
hour and 40 minutes.
You're like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, on a Tuesday at that. or I know it was a weekday.
Yeah. Have you seen Fairy Ring?
I have not actually. I mean, I've heard them on album. I've seen videos that people have recorded of them. I mean, I live literally like a mile from Portal,
Okay.
and I need to get down there more than what I do, but it involves crossing a bridge, and it's just like, oh gosh. And then it's like, if it's on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something like that, and having to get up at 5 in the morning the next day, and it's like, gosh, man, it's like, where are all these weekend shows when I needed them?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But so they're coming again. They'll like Fairy Ring is playing. I think they're playing with Restless Spirit.
Yes, on the 30th. When is the air date for this?
Uh we're probably 8 or 10 days out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I know they're playing on the 30th at Portal with Restless Spirit and Crop. Shout out to the dudes in Crop, love them
Yeah.
to death. Yeah, actually, that night I'm promoting the Metal Forge Live at Art Sanctuary with Misery Machina and Cathode ULT, along with I
Kerr.
can't even remember my bands now. Treason and Malignant Vision.
Okay. I thought Kerr was on that for some reason.
They were on last year's.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they were on Metal Night One at Art Sanctuary, which was Overload, Eulogy and Blood, Kerr, and Blood Curse.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
exactly
and
what it
that was a
was.
rad show. That was a really fun one. And I've got some pictures posted on the Overload Facebook from a couple different people like Kevin Spalding and Michael Denlin. Super awesome pics that they took of that show.
Right on.
And yeah, this year I'm hoping they come out again to do some more pictures of the other bands and everything. But yeah, I actually want to go see Fairy Ring in their native home out in Evansville.
I'm
So
down.
yes, absolutely. I hear there's only a couple of places out there that are the top venues to go to, like for the underground stuff. But I definitely need to make it out there. My drummer in Ice Howl is actually he lives out there. Kyle Wilcher.
Okay. Yeah, that's so I've only been to a couple of shows in Evansville, and the last time I went was I went to see Extinction AD. They played some brewery, and it was, dude, it was wild. There was, I don't know, 4 or 5 bands, and I think the first 3 bands were like local hardcore bands.
Yeah, they have a big hardcore scene. I've actually only ever seen one show there, and it wasn't even a music show. It was NXT wrestling. When it was still like the group of people like Alexa Bliss and Finn Balor and Shinsuke, if you're into wrestling at all.
No,
Yeah, it was the for the wrestling nerds that listen. I know metal and wrestling go hand in hand, so there's
yeah,
gonna be somebody out there. I got to see that shit and it was awesome.
hell yeah. Well, I
But
guess
yeah,
now,
you need to get to Evansville more. I like going to like places and looking at like record stores and shit and just seeing what I can find.
for sure. I think it's always cool when you go to a town like I went out to, where were we? Oh, LA. I'd never been to.
I
I
went to a town. Oh, where were we? Oh yeah, L.A.
well, I was
Like
like,
it's such. It's just down the road.
well, like I travel a lot, so I don't ever know,
Right.
you know. But
I
it's
get.
like we were staying right across the street from Amoeba Music, and I got to go in there, and it was like, oh, all
Does
these
it remind you of your ecstasy?
I guess a little bit, but mind you, I didn't grow up here. So
Okay.
my time with Ear Ecstasy was very minimal. I'd probably only been in there a half a dozen times maybe.
Oh, okay. So you probably didn't go to the original. You probably went to and it was in like the near the Kinkos and FedEx store.
I went to it when it was where Panera was and the taco
Okay,
place
cool.
now.
Yeah. So if you went to that one was the cool one.
Yeah.
I actually know where you can see the sign that was the big yellow sign that was there. It's over in the Peddlers Mall or Vendors Village in Clarksville. is
Oh,
where it
right
is.
on.
And dude, going to that store when like, you know, like being a teenager was awesome because they had so much shit. They were one of the only stores that could order things from Europe. I mean, they had like they had the connected internet kiosk that you could search, and it was such an awesome thing. And it's just like you would take a pen and a paper with you because you would write down like whatever label it was, the catalog number, and the title, and then you would give it to. Hopefully, you would give it to somebody that would then give it to Brian Omer, who actually, you know, ordered a lot of that metal stuff and could get you a lot of the metal stuff back in the day. And it would be really bad. Like sometimes you would give it to somebody and then they would forget to give it, and you would go back in like 2 weeks hoping it was there, and it wasn't.
And you're like,
And you're like, oh
no.
man. It's like, no, man, I didn't get it. I never got the paper. It's like shit. So then you're going through. It's like now you got to wait another 2 weeks, and then this time you paid for it in advance. So, and then it didn't show up because of shipping or something. It's like, and then it's like a
Yeah.
month later again, and then it finally gets there, and it was just such a great experience.
But
And then it had the multiple levels. It kind of reminded me of like, you know, it was just if there was Empire Records where the store just looks so fucking cool in the movie,
yeah,
that's what Ear Ecstasy at the Panera location on Bardstown Road was to me.
I
That was my Empire at the time.
I think it was to a lot of people, really, because I feel like obviously that's always been the spot right in the middle of the Highlands. Like it was the
Mm-hmm.
heartbeat, you know?
Yeah.
It didn't matter. You go bar hopping, you're going by your ecstasy.
And they
What?
were always open late, usually. A lot of times they were open till 11 or midnight, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, because, you know, you would get a lot of the times you would get on Fridays back in the day, you would get like the midnight release shit.
Hmm.
Like the Black Album did a midnight release, you know, Black Album, get it? Ha ha.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science here. It's marketing, people. That's what I always try to talk to people about on the metal. It's like marketing. Come on.
But
But no,
it's so different now though, right? Like cuz
yeah,
I remember going to record stores and having to order that shit and hoping like, oh man, I want it to get in. And they're like, yeah, some of those record stores are like, yeah, you're 6 to 8 weeks out. It's like, well, this I guess I'm just twiddling my thumbs waiting. Like, bring
yeah.
me that new
Oh,
album.
for sure. And you know, I always liked the one of the things that I really liked was the section of the no shows. The fucking people who ordered the craziest shit imaginable, fucking Unsane, you know, Mayhem, that
Yep.
shit, and it actually made the floor because the collectors who already had it. You know, when you're talking like 99, 98, 99, 2000, you know, when you're going there and shit. And like the collectors already had that stuff, but when you sit there and you see it in the store and you're like, holy shit, it's like this is insane.
Yeah.
And then you don't have the internet really, so you buy it based on the cover, and you either like it or you don't, you
Yeah.
know. Especially, I think that's a thing with black metal personally, but that's another topic for another show.
Yeah. I dig it all, right? Like and I think with black metal, like everything, there's some good bands and there's some really like bands where you're like, oh, what did I
Yeah, there's the bands that actually that have a budget and record, and then there's the bands that arguably are the better ones that record on like a fucking Teddy Ruxpin doll
yeah.
with a room mic, and those are usually the best ones, but they only have like the one release.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, like I saw Mayhem for the first time when they were here at Paris Town Hall with Cannibal
Mm-hmm.
Corpse and Gorguts and Blood Incantation. Holy shit.
Right. Yeah, I didn't make that one, unfortunately. You know, like I said, I like black metal a lot, but it's a matter of, like I said, finding the stuff that I do like.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, I'm not a big Mayhem fan, but I mean, I get the people who are. I like it. You
It,
know, it's
it
but
was an
yeah.
experience is what it was. Like,
So I was told, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, and I think during that time, I was going through some stuff as well and didn't have the extra cash to go.
right.
So, and that's the other thing too that's changed in the last I don't know how many years with the metal scene too, because even still, touring has been crazy with how many tours are going and everything else, especially since the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's like the pandemic, like, okay, we can play shows again. Floodgates.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I don't know how you do your show, just so but I do tangent a lot because I'm like firing of the brain here. So if I get too like out in the weeds, reel me in, all right? Just say, hey,
Yeah.
dude, shut the fuck up for a minute.
Now I like to, it's like I'm super conversational, right? Like
Yeah, me
wherever the
as well.
conversation goes, I'm good with it. Like I've Braun gets on some tangents.
Yes, he does.
Like,
Yeah, I had him on back in when was he on? Back in the end of the year last year on the Metal Forge. Uh yeah. And it was we ended up spending like 3 hours on on the podcast, like on the Zoom call.
oh yeah.
And like luckily enough I didn't record it because it would have crashed my fucking phone on the amount of time. It would have been like a 10 gig episode or some shit. But yeah, uh I love those guys.
Yeah. They're good dudes. So we tried to record one and the internet was real shitty. He was at the bar. So then
Mm,
we had to go back and re-record it. And when we redid it, it was the night that the Obsessed was having a listening party for the new for Gilded Sorrow. So like we scheduled it, then we got it earlier, and we ended up like fucking jamming out to Gilded Sorrow like at the end of the podcast, just
dude,
listening to the whole
that's
damn
awesome.
thing.
That is killer. See, I need to do that with some things where we do that and record. But as I was telling you before we started rolling, I've got episodes into May,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to do that when you've got like a conversational podcast and that's what I call the Metal Forge. The Metal Forge is a conversation based interview podcast. And it's, I have mostly bands, but I do have some like visual artists on there from time to time, especially when you've got somebody like if you feature like an Ed Repka, somebody who's done like crazy fucking awesome artwork for thrash bands or metal bands throughout the years. Or a Joe Pentagano would be awesome to have, but I don't think he does interviews for the people who see this.
Get him to
You're
do an
not familiar with
interview.
yeah, if you're not familiar with who Pentagano was, he did all the Motorhead covers, most of the Motorhead covers, I should say. But no, but then having people who run labels and stuff and have them on the show because it's a being like from a playing in a band and doing some of that stuff myself. I just want to bullshit with people and just say, hey man, what do you got going on?
Yeah.
What can you talk about?
Well,
What's the label gonna do?
so me too, because I much like you, I'm a music nerd, dude. I could
Mm-hmm.
literally I could talk about it all day, every day with literally anyone, you know.
Right. And I'm the same way. And it's cool because, it's like for me, when I started doing doing that show, it was like such on a local level because it was at the radio station WCHQ, in town station, low power FM. If you were in Crescent Hill, you could get it. But if you live like in the Highlands, you might not get it. But if you lived in St. Matthews, it's like you didn't get it at all because of the hill
Yeah.
right there, Cochrane Hill. It was so weird. But like if you went up 65, I got it all the way up into like Sellersburg.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But the cool thing about it was like they needed a metal show. So at the end of 2018, I asked and said, hey, do y'all want to have a new metal show? And they had me come in and audition, and we laid down an episode. I did it live, actually. So it was a live audition.
Dude,
And they were
yeah.
like, yeah, I think we can work with something. And the next week, there it was.
Hell yeah.
And I've been doing it ever since. So, but when I did that, where I said I was bound to all local.
Right.
So like I could usually get some people from like Seymour, Indiana and down, but like not really anywhere more north of that, and all of Kentucky. So it's like all of Kentucky and like up to like Seymour and all of that. That was where they put your limits on. So it's like you can talk to any bands, you can play any bands from those areas, from the whole state and
Damn.
whatnot.
That sucks.
Well, it was cool because, it got me into a lot of what I would say now regional independent bands.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, Bowling Green to Seymour, Indiana is like 300 miles. That's a long way. So, when you've got bands through there like that's, like Blood Curse and Horse Cave, or Viking that's actually in like Columbus, Indiana or whatever, instead of Seymour, that's a big difference. And that's a big region to cover. So that got me more in line and prepared to what I turned the Metal Forge into today, where
Right on.
it really made the scene a lot smaller to me because of talking to bands in say Portland and Russia, and because we're all feeling the same thing, we're all fighting the same metal fight.
Yeah, it's always an uphill battle. And I think, the cool thing that I've noticed, especially like in Louisville, I don't know, like as of late, right? It used to be, so I was here in the early 2000s, and I felt like at that time it was very divided. If you listened to metal, you went to metal and that was it. If you listened to punk, you went to punk and that was it. And now,
Yeah.
right, I see a lot more like crossover. So you see more punks at metal shows and more metalheads at punk shows, which is honestly, that's fucking, it's how we keep it going.
Yeah, and I think crossover bands, and I like to think of Overload as a crossover band. And the reason I say that is because we're not inherently thrash like Exodus, Metallica, And let me get onto that tangent super fast, and I'll keep it really short. Okay, you want a genre, subgenre music? Let's talk about the big four, because those are four different styles of fucking thrash. Shut the
100%.
hell up. We're going on. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna over genreify where we get like, why is this fucking clown metal core? That's the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah.
But aside from all that, that's where I want to say that, like, Overload we've always been rooted in thrash because I've always had a love for it. And I want to do it now. I want to be that guy and be like, but I'm not going to, rip the guitar off the wall and play something. But no, we've always had this root in thrash, but they're like in the early years with this stuff with like Chuck and Ryan, the songs that maybe have gotten recorded but have not seen the light of day in a long time. We had a more crossover feel there too. There was more, you know, more rock and roll influence with a lot of stuff. Um, there was not as much profane language in that stuff because Donnie didn't want it at the time, because he had read an interview with Alice Cooper, who said that the reason why Alice never used profanities in his music because it was the lowest form of shock value. And he's like, oh wow, somebody said fuck. And it's
Yeah.
like whatever. So that's the reason why he didn't do it. He just went to chopping off his head and shit like that, shocking people with the stage show.
Theatrics.
And but I think you've got to have a healthy dose of everything to make something work. You know, whether it be, getting on a level like a Metallica. Look at their Orion Fest. When it
Yeah.
came down to them promoting those, there were not a lot of metal bands on those. So there
Hmm.
were, but there were bands like Arctic Monkeys and stuff on there and whatever else. So I think it takes a lot. It's if you
Absolutely.
get pigeonholed, yeah.
You have to. Who was I talking to? I was talking to someone and they were talking about the latest album, and they are a doom band, right? And been doing it. I don't know, they're 7 or 8 albums out now. They with the latest album, they decided to listen to a lot of pop and jazz and all these other things to get those elements in. And the fucking new album is like,
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is like you never know what you're going to draw inspiration from. So listen to a crazy amount of whatever you can. Take in as much as you can as an artist because you never know what is going to I'm talking like gonna like get my draw in there really fast. I hate when I do that shit. Because it's such a subconscious thing. That'll make for a funny reel, won't it?
probably, yeah.
um, no, but you sit there and if you get your inspiration, and that's where the fine line happens, where inspiration to uh, basically straight up lifting something from somebody, it's a blurred line because I'm going to just sit there and say Judas Priest and Ozzy, Maiden, and Merciful Fate, all four have similar riffs to each other, all released around the same time period.
Yeah.
So, you know, is it lifting? Is it inspiration? Is it out and out ripping off?
Well,
You're never going to know. And just, if something reminds you of something else, that's probably the vibe that we were going for,
right. And
because maybe that's the way we felt at the time.
you can't, if you take all the music, there's only so many notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many ways to play those notes. So you're gonna have that. You're gonna have shit that sounds alike.
Yeah.
And if we really get into like rip off, if we look at uh Megadeth and Metallica with what is it, the Four Horsemen and the Mechanics?
Well, yeah. Well, that wasn't even, I don't even think that was considered a ripoff, as it were, that when they kicked Dave out of the band, they they continued to use the music
Yeah,
and then changed parts of it, added to it, of course, because I mean, what the Mechanics is like 4 minutes and Four Horsemen's like eight or some shit or seven or something.
something.
So
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, they obviously added to it and changed things and slowed it down. So, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Hell yeah, as you listen to it and you're like, I could totally sing those lyrics over this.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, Dave just decided to keep the original and
Well,
make it even faster.
for sure. And then it really brings up a question, because if you look at like we look at Metallica and their different phases, right? Because Kill 'Em All, that was a super fucking thrashy phase, and that was really, really influenced. Well, I mean, Dave Mustaine, right,
Right.
was a part of that. Whether he's on the album or not, he was a huge fucking part of that. And then,
Sure.
right, then they get into Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets and Justice for All, which is super orchestrated. And I think like Ride and Master are predominantly uh like Cliff Burton. I
Sure.
think he's the influence there. And of course,
Well, and I think that continues the same thing with Justice as well,
100%.
because Justice I think was super orchestrated And you know, who knows timeline of things, if there were any Cliff tapes at that point. I don't have that giant box set that they released from that, so I don't have all of those demos that they put on those things. But I
Right.
mean, let's face it, they're only letting you see what they want you to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Because with all the shit, like if they've got all that kind of stuff from fucking 44 years ago, you know, like ridiculous notes. And if you go to their website and see that shit, it is insane, the timeline. I was talking with Jason Gardner from Temptations Wings and the Ale Horn about that the other day. And we were going through the timeline on Metallica's site, and it was just insane of like what they do, like the note taking.
Oh, I'm
It's like
sure.
journal on journal type shit. But yeah, I mean, they were definitely influenced by that. And I heard somebody, I think it was on a YouTube video, say that the first album was basically nothing more than just recycled new wave British heavy metal riffs
Hmm.
to their words. And it's like, but isn't that what music is?
Yeah.
It's just a recycled thing of somebody else's riff. Like, I mean, seriously, like, unless you play like classical music and are just eight finger playing the whole time, I mean, it's going to be based off of something that you've heard before at this point.
Oh, for sure. There's no unique riffing out there anymore, right? Like,
No, which is wild as shit too, to think of a time before music,
yeah.
because it
Yeah.
had to be there. I mean, before guitar, anyways, stringed
Yeah.
instrument.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
hell,
you
even
always had a whistle, I guess, but
yeah, but then I think a lot of that was it was what? It was very rhythmic. It was all drum,
sure.
which the tribal some of that tribal music is fucking wild. They're singing and drumming and it's just like, holy shit.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I think that's what ultimately killed Sepultura.
Hmm.
And you know, I don't think the fans that they had accrued in America were ready for something like Roots when they
So
were.
I think you're right. You know, I didn't see him on the Roots tour. I saw him on KSAD and the fucking crowd loved him on that.
Mm-hmm.
It
Were
was
you in Louisville for that?
I was not. I was in Nashville.
Okay, because I think I know somebody who went to the Louisville show and they played a little shithole. Well, I say it's a little shithole place, but oh my god, there was a venue here called the Thunderdome,
Oh,
and it was attached to the brewery. Uh, it was the first place I'd ever seen a bigger band, and the bigger band was Social D. Uh,
oh,
so I saw them on. It was probably I could tell you it was May of '97.
okay.
So when I saw them, and it was during the week, I know it was right before summer vacation started, and it was fucking like wild because it was an all ages show at uh at this fucking bar, and when you walk in, you go up a ramp, and then there's just like the bar area, and then it goes down into a fucking pit. So yeah, and it was wild as shit. And the band played in the corner uh, above the pit, and the pit was like head level.
So that's Harpo's in Detroit is like that. You go into their room and there's like a bar to the right, a bar to the left, and they've got this light up dance floor with tables on it. And then it drops into this fucking pit and it's you go in to watch the band and you do this.
Yeah, pretty fucking much. Well, I mean, it wasn't like uncomfortable, like head all the way up. But if you were standing at the rail, well, what essentially would be the rail,
Yeah.
um, yeah, you would be staring straight up like this. But like, no, man, that fucking place, that was a badass fucking show. I mean, it was fucking packed.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Social D always put, I feel like they always put on a really good show too.
Oh yeah, especially through here, I believe, because there is a very prominent punk scene in Louisville and a hardcore scene, and that is fucking awesome to have. Just so many different facets of heavy music.
Yeah. And
Which, go
you
ahead.
know, dude, we have some great fucking bands here.
Oh yeah,
Like it's almost mind-blowing the amount of talent that's in this city. You go out almost any fucking night and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go check out this band and man, they fucking rock. Or I'm gonna go over here and
oh
you know,
sure, and that's the thing is like it's weird now because before the pandemic, before the dark times, before the empire, as I like to say, uh, you know, nobody wanted to do Sunday shows or nobody wanted to do any weekday shows or any shit like that.
right.
And now it's a little bit different because yeah, you get obviously Metal Monday's the institution.
Hmm.
It's always been there. It's always going to be there. You know, so there's that. But then you get a lot of cool shows at like Portal on Sundays.
Oh
You get a
yeah.
lot of Magbar shows that are pretty cool on Sundays. And I think a lot of punk shows do well on Sundays here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And but then like through the week, you do get a couple of cool Wednesday shows at like Mag, that are not necessarily packed with, you know, a crazy fucking headliner like Snafu's coming in on a Wednesday, but it might be somebody like Baptized and Volcandra and like this past Friday,
Yeah.
something like that. But it does great, and it's such a fucking awesome midweek hangout.
Yeah, and that's again, like that's the cool thing about Louisville is you remember, I remember a time you go to a local show and there's like 10 people there. And
Sure.
now I feel like those shows are fucking selling out. Like there are still some where you've got, a handful of people or whatever, but there's a larger there's more attendance now than I feel there ever has been, really.
Yes, absolutely. And I think where the pandemic and it's like that fucking open floodgate of
Yeah.
touring that's happened is just that. It's that open floodgate. So there's everybody's touring. And now I think a lot of the metal bands in 24, uh, aside from like your way, I'm totally talking underground here. I think over the last couple of years, with the floodgates being open and it's been tour after tour after tour, I think you're going to see a little bit of a thinning this year. I think
Okay.
you're going to get a lot of shows because obviously on the 30th, there's like 19 fucking metal shows in town because there's a Magbar show that night too. And I think there's a show at 21st in Germantown also that's a metal show.
Oh,
So, which is right next door to where I'm promoting.
that's
But no,
hilarious.
but yeah, so there's always going to be something, but where that is, that's where your divided crowds are, but nobody's getting a 10-person show.
Right.
They're gonna Okay, so out of those four shows, yeah, they could all be one show and 100 people be there, but when you get 20 or 30 people from each one of them, you know, it's cool because a lot of times I don't know about you, but I might go to both.
Yeah.
Spend a little time at Mag and then go to Portal.
Yeah, and
You know,
so a lot of that, you're right. It really depends on the bands. If there's bands playing in both places I want to see, I I split my time. Where what I didn't do it when Crypta was playing. I wanted to see Crypta,
yeah,
and I was at the Nest show and I had an interview with John Jarvis that night. So I was like, I spent all my energy at the Nest show and I'm really kicking myself for not going to check out Crypta. But man, Nest put on such a good fucking show and they've like covered Thin Lizzy, ZZ Top, and Slayer like through their through their set. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
I think they finished the set with Spill the Blood.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this year I'm planning some more stuff. So I'll go ahead and kind of let the cat out of the bag. Do you actually, I mean, what else? I want to come on, ask me some more stuff.
Well, this is fucking great though. Just sitting
We've
here.
just been riffing, and I actually want to, yeah,
Yeah.
this is your show, man.
That it's fuck, it's our show right now. Who gives a shit? So what's coming out? What do you want to let out of the bag?
So I'll go ahead and give you the exclusive, because I don't think I've actually said it on my show yet. Another big goddamn metal show this year
Okay.
is so it's actually another big goddamn metal show. And I don't have the announcements for the headliners yet, but it will be on the 10th and 11th of October at Magbar. I believe
Okay.
those are the right dates, or the 11th and 12th, something like that. It's the second weekend of May or of October.
All right, good.
So yeah, that's going to be happening. And on April 26th at Magbar, I am co-promoting with Mag and A Rippin. Is It's going to be Tombstoner, Obscene, Electrocutioner, and another Louisville band that is still yet to confirm. So that's actually my 41st birthday show. So yeah, we're gonna fucking listen to some fucking Electrocutioner, Obscene, and fucking Tombstoner, and we're gonna fucking blast the fucking night away.
Throw down for your fucking birthday. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Uh,
That's
all
gonna
right.
be fun because Tombstoner and Electrocutioner. This will be Electrocutioner's first time in Louisville, and they're fucking Brooklyn thrash.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, dude! Like super rad fucking band. Mark has been on the Metal Forge before, and that day they will be on the Metal Forge as well.
Hell yeah. That'll be cool as shit. So 26th, are you going to go to Legalize Lex on the 20th?
Actually, I want to, but I will be in Indy that weekend, seeing Elven King and Glyph, and that other band. I'll probably leave before Hailstorm. So, uh, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
that Legalize Lex, man, that lineup is fucking
it's
stacked.
fucking phenomenal, dude. I know, and it's the Elven King show is actually a Ice Howl outing, so we're going as a band for that.
Hell yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's the reason why it's like, if it wasn't for that, I would totally be at Legalized Lex because everybody there fucking like Swamp Hawk, Crop, fucking. I mean,
Fairy Ring,
Fairy
Sheath.
Ring. Yeah, I mean, I don't fucking clack away on the keyboard during most shows anymore because it's like it just like looks bad on the video, I think.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, I'd be fucking like bringing up the flyer. But yeah, I definitely want to give shout out to Braun and the people who were putting that on because you know, fucking. I think as fucking a society, we're just about fucking done.
We're
We're
close.
fucking like fuck you. I
Yeah.
fucking had it.
Yeah.
I think that's where the metal and the punk and where I have found my love of music and my love of just I kind of feel like fucking I don't know, like a watcher,
Oh yeah.
like a Bartleby or something, fucking where we just watch as things happen, the scene happens and evolves, and ultimately it's guys like you and me and Jason in North Carolina and all the other crazy fucking independent metal podcasts out there that we do that we're the ones that are making these documentaries of our time.
Oh yeah.
Every episode you do is a snapshot in that band's life.
And
And
it's,
that's beautiful.
it's so fucking cool, and it's so cool to hear the stories and to have like these conversations, and we can say, okay, like I was talking with Reagan Daly about the Louisville scene.
And Reagan is amazing. Uh, Shout out
Oh
to
yeah.
Reagan and Third House.
Like, so he's got one coming out. We'll have to do another because there's like we got so deep into the fucking Louisville scene, and there is still so much to like to talk about and unfold. And I don't know, he kind of let it out that Glasspack are playing together again, which I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Well, Glassback usually do a thing every so once in a while. They'll put out like a 7 inch. Or at least that's the way it seems, or somebody will acquire rights to it and put it out like
Yeah.
Ben Jones. You know, that's a person you need to have on the show as well. And I will give Ben a shout out. I love Ben to death. Ben is the owner and operator and proprietor of Better Days Records over on Barrett Avenue. We were talking about Ear Ecstasy earlier, but unfortunately they're no longer there. But Better Days still is, and they're brick and mortar, and they're trying their hardest to get a good fucking metal thing going in the store. I worked there for a while, um, and have since went on to just doing what I've been doing. But yeah, check them out. Have Ben on the show. He is actually, I believe, he's the only black owned record shop in Louisville.
Okay.
Maybe in Kentucky, I don't know. So it's really good.
Hmm.
And dude, he actually has some really good ideas for the scene and stuff, even in the punk side of things, because he also puts things out. He has just done some pretty cool shit, even back in the day, like the original Bush League 7 inch stuff he put out on Better Days Records.
Yeah, and that's I think one of the coolest things about Louisville is the amount of support and the amount of people that are here going, okay, we can do this and it'll really help strengthen us. And here, how can I help you? And let's do this and get it more together. And
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is like it's wild to see both sides of it.
yeah.
Where being in a band where you can't get no help, because there's bands out there that don't know who to reach out to,
Yep.
and or they reach out to the wrong person who is just an asshole but puts on the face, because we all run into that shit.
Yep.
But but then there's like, then you get the ones that are fucking straight up. All right, these are the homies. These are the people who are going to look out for my best interest. These are the core people that are good, that support each other. They support what your cause is, and shit like that. And I think that's awesome when you find your people like that.
Fuck yeah, it is. That's
And I think that's what we're getting at here is like, I remember going booking shows at like Phoenix Hill back in like 2010, 11, 12, 13, and just watching the fucking scene die off. And, by the time that place closed, watching it from here and just fucking and getting those 10-person shows,
yeah.
And that was real hard shit too, because back in that day of Louisville, fucking those bars were open till 4 in the fucking morning, and you had music until fucking 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And they wanted the last band starting at 1, and nobody wanted that spot. Nobody did.
No. Fuck no. No one wants to be taking the stage then. They want to be partying at that point.
Exactly. And that's when I noticed a lot of the fucking where shit started to get earlier in Louisville. And then when they closed, and then the pandemic happened, and now you're lucky if hey, it's midnight and the show is over.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And I like that. And that's where, because I like it because we're all adults now. We have to get up and go to work the next fucking day. If it's on a fucking Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, Sunday, and fucking yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I remember those days, and it just being such a weird time even then.
Well, I like it's funny because like back in 2010 to like 2014, like I went to go see Crowbar at Phoenix Hill, and I think
Mm-hmm.
there was like 100 people there.
Yeah.
Like, and now they're packing out uh Mercury Ballroom. You know,
Right.
it's really different. Like for us, for the scene as a whole, I feel like our scene is super, super vibrant right now. We've got a lot of I feel like we've got a lot of media focused on like Louisville and what they have
Mm-hmm.
going on, right? Because like Knock Loose come out and they're fucking knocking the doors off the freaking world.
Right.
Um, Gates to Hell I think just finished up with Machine Head, just finished up
Yeah.
that tour.
But they just were announced on Nuclear Blast
Yep.
earlier this year, which is rad as fuck. That that's happening, and then obviously Volcandra with fucking Prosthetic.
Prosthetic. Yep.
And that's totally fucking cool. And I can totally see there's a ton more bands in this city that you know that are gonna get something picked up, and because it's only a matter of time
Yeah.
at this point. And honestly, I would say the dudes in Stagecoach will probably be coming up soon, because that second album, from what I've been hearing the talk of, is fucking amazing.
Okay.
It's far better than the first. So yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time, before you're
Yeah.
gonna sit there and see something about it on fucking Loudwire. And I hate seeing those sites because they put so much fucking clickbait garbage out for the clicks. Got to
Well,
get the
yeah.
the
Yeah, and
got to beat the algorithms.
I feel like a lot of those larger sites, they don't actually do the reporting themselves. They just repost shit from people
Mm-hmm.
who are actually doing it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, but again, when they do that, it makes it harder for fucking like the small line reporters like you and
Yeah.
I. Say, holy shit, did you guys see this? Yeah, like 6 hours ago from fucking Loudwire, dick.
Yeah, like
Yeah, thanks.
yeah. I just had actually Not Fest Australia just shared one of my reels with King Parrot and I was like, "Fuck yeah."
Hell yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. But as for other stuff that are hopefully coming out this year, uh, there is supposed to be a Overload 7-inch split with a band from Germany called Poison Speed.
Okay.
Uh, uh, Reagan, I believe, is going to be putting that out for us, and we're still talking about it. So, and I need to have them on the Metal Forge to talk about his other releases that he had done with the Stone Wizard and Crop and everything else that he's going to do this year.
Yeah, I think he's got an Ulm coming up and
Mm-hmm.
God, when the last time I talked to him, he was like, he had like 15 or 16 on the horizon. I'm like, fuck yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
I believe there is a full length that he's putting out too, which is from the Hell You Say.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Golly. Again, so many fucking killer bands in the area.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and it's cool to sit there and to see bands in our area, and but what I think is even better is like seeing bands in another scene, and it's like being in a scene that you're not a part of, but you're just kind of overlooking it,
Hmm.
which is kind of fucking cool too. So like Portland, Portland has a fucking amazing metal scene. Fucking, you know, they've got fucking now I'm gonna fucking draw blanks on
You're gonna
fucking
blank because you're trying to talk about it. Yeah.
because I'm trying to talk about it. But Soul Grinder is out there. Solicitor splits time between Seattle and there. Bewitchers from there. Fucking member of Shadowlands live out. A member or two of Shadowland live out there. They're also from New York. So fucking like, and that's just 4 bands, you
Yeah.
know, that I
So
just lit.
I feel the
And
same
then
way about
Time
like
Rift.
like
Let's look at my wall over here. Time Rift is one of them. Fuck. Now I'm drawing a blank on who to look for on the wall because I got a fuck ton of stickers on the door over
so
here.
Detroit's the same way though, right? Like you look
Sure,
at from the outside
snafu.
looking in, yeah, Snafu, Centenary, uh same thing. And now I'm like,
Yeah,
Battlecross.
exactly. Now you're not being able to do it. Chicago is as well, and fucking, you know, Jerome Marshall from the band Hate Monger, what Yakuza, and a couple more.
Yakuza just did 25 years. Just
Yeah,
celebrated 25 years. How cool is that?
did you see the posts, man? They
Yeah.
fucking had somebody come in and chalk art them on the wall at the venue.
How fucking cool is that?
That is amazing, dude. Shout out to Jerome. He's fucking awesome. But he's one of those people that everybody knows as well, like fucking Andrew Bansall from
Yeah.
fucking Metal Assault.
It,
Everybody knows him, and fucking, it's like, what's your Andrew story?
there's another band out of Chicago they're not playing together anymore. The Atlas Moth.
Okay.
Fuck, dude, they were
Well, and up
so
there in the
good.
punk scene, you got Voice of Addiction up there.
Yeah.
You know, which voice comes down fucking Louisville all the time too. I think they still play Third Street, so I think they're the only band that still plays it. But
Yeah, I've not been there in a minute.
no, shit changed when Rick left, and it I think it's dead to the metal scene for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Who was
but
it?
yeah,
I was talking to
it's sad.
talking to the Convalescents, and they played a show at Third Street Dive, and like no one was there. Like,
Gee, hey, I've played shows at Third Street Dive, and no one was there too.
yeah. So,
But
so
it's the convalescents. There
right.
should
So
be there.
there should be people there. Well, I don't know. I don't remember exactly when this was. A Apparently, Keith, the dude singing, opens the door and someone's walking down the street, and he fucking grabs them and pulls them in the freaking bar to come listen to him, and they're jamming out. And it's Ace Frehley's manager,
Who is?
the dude he pulled off the fucking street.
Oh shit. Was Ace Frehley's manager. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. He started telling me that story, and I'm like, holy shit, dude. That,
Dude, when you said that and you had looked at the screen and stopped, I thought you got a message at
oh,
first from Ace Frehley's manager. I'm like, what? What is it? And then no, fucking I didn't realize that fucking he's just fucking shit fucking walking down goddamn Third Street.
yeah. Yeah. This is like, I think this is pre the Omni,
Yeah.
right? So, fuck. Like, how
Wow.
crazy is that? You just grab someone off the street, and the guy's like, I'm Ace Frehley's manager. Like, what the fuck?
Dude, that's insane. Especially if Ace wasn't in town at the time.
I think he was.
Oh, okay. So it was just that fucking weird happenstance of
Yeah.
fucking like Wayne's World. He's in the same town and he's in the same
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So who are right now some of your favorite like locals that people just have to fucking listen to?
Oh shit. Baptized. Baptized. That's probably gonna get put on a shirt. Because you know, Bat Piss, Baptiste,
Yeah.
all the different pronunciations on the shirt. So Baptized, I think, is really fucking cool. And obviously, if you're a Motorhead fan, Hangover Kill, which is members of various bands of like Baptize, She,
Blind
Eve,
Scryer.
Blind Scryer, Redivider, uh, fucking Volcandra. There, somebody from all of those bands has played in or is in Hangover Kill, and what that is they do the Death Day show once a year, and it's the anniversary of Lemmy's death. So yeah, that's a cool one.
Mm.
Obviously, I love Rifle in Louisville. Fucking, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're kind of a crossover hard rock band,
Mm-hmm.
meaning most of their stuff is hard rock, but you know, ever since we've been playing together, they've skirted metal a little bit more.
All right.
So
Yeah, I love Rick, man. That
but they've been old school metalheads to begin with, like back in like the 80s and 90s scenes, so like with Crown of Thorns, fucking Bethlehem, Queen Assassin, back in the fucking way back days that I want to get more into
okay.
finding those recordings on cassette and shit. Um, but yeah, obviously those bands, Eulogy and Blood, shout out to them. I love those dudes. Fucking for Louisville death metal, they're pretty fucking awesome.
Right on.
And obviously, dude, I can't even fucking I unfortunately I missed the previous Ulm show at
Yeah.
Headliners. I plan on going to the March 16th at Magbar show with to see Ulm that night, and because Ice Howl played their debut show on Friday at Black Circle in Indy, and that was fucking amazing. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Ice Howl as well. So check them out. I mean, we're from all over Indiana.
Okay.
So,
So
uh,
what would you how would you classify Ice Howl?
um, it originally was like stoner doom groove, kind of like sword,
Okay.
stoner rock and roll type stuff. But that was with its original inception, their original lineup, and then it became a kind of like a usually like a solo thing, but but with occasional like guest appearance stuff. Jason Roach did a few albums that way. I think he did like 4 albums that way. And then he was on the Metal Forge, and I was just like, dude, you need to do this live because this shit is so fucking cool. Because you know, when the latest album had came out, it was fucking it was just so fucking good. It was like almost like the groove and the stoner was still there inherently, but it was mostly just power metal.
Okay.
And and it was just like, holy shit, this is awesome. And I kind of prodded at him, was like, you should do this, man. You should get this as a thing because I want to see it live. You know, being it's like I don't even want to fucking play it, and I want to see it live. And then about 3 months later, he made a post, and it was within a minute on Facebook when I saw that it had posted. And I immediately messaged him as like, dude, I am in. I
Hell
want to
yeah.
play. And he was like, I was about to message you.
Hell yeah.
so so that's it. You know, we did that. That was last May. We got together for the first time, had a talk, and we then started doing the practice thing once a month because we're all about 2 hours apart from each other, except for the two guitar players who are neighbors.
Okay.
So so that's convenient. But yeah, we've got a member in Evansville, one in Indy, and I'm here by Louisville, and we all make it work. And the Black Circle show was amazing, and we're actually playing on the Saturday of May 4th at Legions of Metal in Chicago.
Oh, right on.
So
May the fourth be with you.
fuck yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I'm filling my time these days is going to some shows here and there, putting out fucking content on the Metal Forge and Flamekeeper uh, podcast network. and Overload in Ice Howl.
Yeah, so you don't have anything going on. God, how do you get through each day?
No, man. But a lot of it's the sit and wait thing.
Yeah.
There's so much of that too. Like, when you've got a band like Ice Howl where we practice once a month, so it's sit and wait until the next practice, or we've always got the band chat going on, or somebody's sending an idea, or it's like,
Yeah.
hey, what about this? Or what do you think about this for a shirt idea? And Overload does the same thing when we're in our off time, like right now. Mike had surgery on his arms, so we're kind of in a holding pattern. I'm writing some riffs for the possible next EP that we're going to put out, because I think that's what we're going to stick to from now on
Just
is
do
EP.
EPs.
Yeah, I mean, if the mood strikes and it's just like a thing that just rolls and rolls and rolls, yeah, we might do an album. But I think since 2007, it's 2024 now, so you know that's it's a decent amount of time.
I notice a lot of bands actually moving towards just putting EPs out instead of full lengths.
Well, honestly, if you're not if you're not in a touring band and you're not trying to sell albums, I don't think that matters. That's where you get a lot of your album bands, you know. And a lot of times, those are the bands too that are writing and writing and writing and writing constantly. Trevor from Haunt is one of those people who has fucking put out quality content from 20 fucking like 15 on, it's like multiple releases a year, whether it be EPs, albums, whatever, and whether it be Beastmaker or Haunt, or he's helping out with somebody like Saber, Seven Sisters, or whoever, you
Right.
know, and that's pretty fucking rad. But like, most people, it's weird the demographic these days because everything's so single driven again in
Oh yeah.
music. So I think that's why the EPs are the thing. It's because you can essentially release one every 2 months, take a couple months off, then do it again the next year.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that, but I was talking to a buddy of mine who manages like high dollar artists, and when when they write their contract, it's um essentially it's singles. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna record 42 singles for us or whatever that is. And it's like, holy shit. So we're not even talking like 5 albums. You're like, no, you got to give me 42 fucking singles. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, which means that you've got to write 42 songs that produce,
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
dude. And honestly, no, I would never want to do anything on that level.
No.
Not at all. I mean, even if I was a good enough player to do anything on that level, like, you've got to really think that those people who are controlling the music industry, they're not just they're not just suits. Okay. There's players involved.
Oh yeah.
But it's the players that are, the classically trained players that go to business school and they know, like, it's all focus group tested shit. I mean,
Yeah, but
I get
it's
into that. It almost sounds conspiracy theorist in a way.
well, because it is. Like it
I mean,
absolutely is, right? Like what do we have? We have these people who went to college, and what did they do? They learned how to sell you on how to
mhm,
give them money to do something you can do on your own. Like,
exactly.
so I
Which,
just had a conversation with Jimmy Bauer, and I like what I Hate God is doing. They pay for the recording, they do everything, and then they license the music to the label. So they
exactly.
have full creative control. They make the fucking money, and all I can think is like, I want to see more bands do that, right? Like, hold
Well,
on.
on a lot of the independent labels, they're pretty much already doing that now.
Yeah.
because when you get to, and I say independent label, and that is a very loose term these days,
Hmm.
because unless you're an epic Sony, uh whatever else is out there, fucking Apple at this point is a fucking label again, because they're buying fucking catalogs of music like they bought the Beatles.
Yeah.
Fucking, so those, no, fucking good luck on that shit. But like, but like people like Century Media, uh, Nuclear Blast, Metal Blade, they're still independent enough that they're still business minded, but they're still independent enough labels where you know the artist still is not getting fucked as
Mm.
bad as. I mean, what I'm
So
saying is
I,
there's
I
things there,
I've heard
but
some inside stories about like Metal Blade particularly, and like from newer like bands getting signed, they fucking rope them into a 6 album deal. Like you
oh,
have to perform 6 fucking albums, and
that's
fuck that.
insane.
Like
Who
fuck
even
that.
has that in them? There's a lot of bands that don't have 6 albums in
Well,
them,
um,
and I say that meaning even some of these bands that have 15 and 16 albums don't necessarily have 6 albums in
that's
them.
that's fair. But so they do that, and then like say the band breaks up, they fucking hold all the members. If they start another band, you have to go with us. You have to finish out your fucking contract. Like,
Wow.
oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing that people sit there and talk about is like the fucking rape culture of the fucking music industry. And it starts at like that. And I didn't know that before you'd said it. So
Well, and that's
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 wild.
why that's why I push for bands to be a lot more independent, like do it yourself, own your
Yeah,
shit. Don't give away your fucking publishing rights to these people because like is there is a place for labels, absolutely, right?
yes.
I'm not
Because
going to
you can't
discount
get the
that.
distribution on your own, like for physical media, that is. You
Uh,
know, you
not
you could
not
you could
not
pen
off
and
jump.
paper. Yeah, you could pen and paper music stores all over wherever, and wholesale to music stores, but having someone do it for you,
Yeah,
that's the beauty of the label, because they're
yeah,
doing it for you at that point. So a
partially,
label
right?
should be a service. And that's the
Absolutely.
thing. That's the thing that a lot of people don't get. A label is a service. You work together. You don't work for them.
Right.
It's
And
your art
that's
and it's
where
your music.
the
You
labels fucked up is or that's where the labels are getting the bands fucked up because you're absolutely right. They provide a service. And yes, that service is worth money. It is not, in my opinion, it is not worth the majority of the money from the album sales. Like
exactly
the 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 fucking band should be reaping most of those profits.
right.
They should see all of that come in because that band is a fucking business. Without the bands, the labels would have nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. And honestly, they're I mean, again, like I said, it's a rape culture,
Yeah.
is what it is. And I hate to fucking equate it to that, but when you don't look at it that way, that's when you're just like, fuck, what the fuck? How come I'm not getting anything? Well, it's like, for one, nobody's just going to come and look for you either.
Right.
Not in fucking 2024. Definitely not before that, because you fucking the pen and fucking, like I said, pen and paper thing, right?
Yeah.
But fucking, you just got to. It's all about the hustle, the build, and everything. Make
It
people talk.
it is. It's the conversations, right? And it's the bands relying on each other to go, hey, listen, there's something better out there than to give away most of our rights to our music to get
Mm-hmm.
anything. Like that's I always relate back to like hip hop and folk music, because we look at like Ani DeFranco, Tech Nine, Master P. like all of them, right? All of them are millionaires. I think Master P's a billionaire now, and he did it all himself,
Right.
right? Tech Nine did the same thing. He went out, he hustled, he did the thing, he built his own fucking network. Ani DeFranco did the same thing, went out, hustled, built her own fucking network, and
Right.
it's
And all of them, when you think about it, all of them created the genre that they are now.
yeah,
I mean, people are emulating them in, in the genre today
yeah.
when you really think about it.
Oh, they absolutely are. Like
You know, Annie DeFranco, for prime example, female singer songwriter type stuff. After her, there was a huge influx of that.
oh
Still
yeah, there
is.
was. Yeah.
And a lot of that's great. I mean, even just like seeing the influence what people like that have done.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason that those folks are so influential is because they were like, we're gonna carve our own path. I think Master P was saying like they flew him out to LA and they were like offering him millions of dollars to sign with them and to essentially buy him out. And they get on the jet and they're flying home and he's like, man, if they're offering us millions for this, what is its real fucking worth? Like,
Right.
huh, you know,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And that's where it goes back to the thing of what Rocky said. If you know what you're worth, go out and get what you're worth,
yeah, yeah. It's
Ain't
the
about how
truth.
hard it
It's the
hit.
absolute truth. All right, Mark. God, I fucking love it.
There is something I wanted to point out from a minute ago that you had said,
Sure.
and it was on the label talk about was we kind of just came back to it. And Sam from Call Me Bronco was one of my first in studio music guests on the Metal Forge when it was on the radio station, and he played a song, and this was in 2019, February of 2019, and to this day I reference that lyric more than probably anything ever when it comes to the music talk, the business side of things as it is. And his lyric was, the only reason anyone's still playing in a band is because everyone else goes to work and pays to be a fan.
Mm.
And it's like, fuck, that's exactly the truth. We
Yeah.
all work to go see bands like fucking, I don't know, Saxon, Uriah Heep. That's a tour that's coming up that's going to be fucking awesome. Fucking, if you want to pay the fucking crazy shit to go to fucking Louder Than Life, if that's your thing, or another big goddamn metal show, if that's your thing, that's cool. And yeah, that's where it's at, seeing these bands and supporting these bands, and you know, we're
Well,
all in it together, dude. I mean,
and
that's the
then
thing.
then you have to ask, like, why do people do that, right? Like, I go to a lot of shows because it means something to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have the ability to take my kids and go out to shows, and my daughter's met, I don't know, Chuck Billy and Gene Hoglan and Paulo and Eloy from Sepultura. Well, not Eloy from Sepultura anymore.
Hey,
um so yeah, I think he's going to be the Slipknot guy.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm thinking so.
Yeah, there's too many coincidences, but to do it, it's like, for me, it's bonding. It's
Yeah,
bonding with people. I've some of my best friends I've met through music, and I'm so fucking grateful for that.
definitely. Same. Absolutely the same.
Hell yeah. All right, Mark, I want to do this again. Um,
Sure.
I say that because I'm like, I got in late last night and I got up
No, dude,
early.
I get you. I was too. I was dead as shit yesterday and most of today.
Yeah.
I woke up a half an hour before this,
Oh,
actually.
good for you. Man, I wish. I fucking wish. I've been trying to nap all day and I worked all day, so I'm just like, go, 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 go.
Well, I put on some fucking old school Masters of the Universe on YouTube and was doing shit around the house. And I sat down for a second and was just like out like light.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Awesome. Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. I'm super excited to see Overload, not
Yeah,
Overlord. Um, and if your live thing wasn't the same night as the crop show at
sure.
Portal, like, damn it.
No, dude, I totally get it. I totally get it because if it was there, like I said, Storm Toker's in town that night. Fucking Crops in town that night. Fucking
Yeah.
I'm putting on a show that night. Fucking yeah. There's a lot going on. There's
Hell
like I
yeah.
said, there's at least 4 metal shows that are fucking all bang for your buck.
Yeah.
At varying degrees of price. So fucking hopefully everybody flourishes that night as well.
Yeah, I think they will. Like it's springtime
It's such a great scene.
and people are tired of being locked up in the house. Now it's nicer weather. Let's go out. All right, cool.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right, Mark, have yourself a great night.
Absolutely, dude. Check
And
out every Friday new episodes of the Metal Forge and 3 times a week you said for you. Fuck. So
yeah,
much content, so much awesome metal content.
yeah, for sure, dude. I love that we have the ability to support each other and
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
really help it out.
Absolutely, dude. Anytime. That's what it's all about.
Fucking
Because
A.
at the end of the day, what else do you have?
Yeah, nothing. Not a fucking thing. All right, dude.
So
I'll see you, brother.
see you, man. Thanks.